It includes Taylor Rowatinsky, Taylor Lovell, who we saw win the steeplechase yesterday, Carly Hansen, and Carmen Alder. Alder was very good in that 1500, you might remember, had the top seed time on Thursday night. Again, you're going to keep your eyes out watching at home for all the blue tops for BYU. This is a huge race for them for team implications. Outside of the favorites, John, anyone that we should be looking out for in terms of somebody that could threaten? As we've seen, it always doesn't go to chalk as you would expect.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just saw that with Muirhead's victory in the men's 5K. The Big 12 is so deep. As we see, it looks like Jane Hedegren's deciding not to waste any time putting a big gap out on this field. As we see Oklahoma State athlete, I believe that's Iska Chalengat. Yes, it is. Making a big move to get up to Jane Hedegren's shoulder. But to go back to what I was saying, I think this conference is so deep. There's so many great athletes. Again, 15 men in that 5K, All-American status. And on the women's side, I count 10 All-Americans. Again, not even counting second teams or honorable mentions. So this conference is a conference of All-Americans. To score at this meet, you have to beat All-Americans.
Oh, for Hedegren, leading the way. During the regular season, she ran a 14:50.50. It is first in the country. The next closest in the Big 12 was 22 seconds behind that mark. Two-time gold medalist at the indoors in the 5K and the 3K. National Track Athlete of the Year. She set the NCAA meet record for a 3K, and she's the first collegiate woman ever to run a sub-14:50 5K.
Yeah, I was going to say, not only is that 14:50 the #1 time in the country, but it's also the NCAA outdoor record.
Yeah.
And not only is that 14:50 her outdoor record, but she actually ran faster indoors. 14:44.
Yeah.
So it really has been just an incredible opening season for Hedegren. She came in with so many records, basically every high school record in high school, and somehow she exceeded the expectations. Again, runner-up in the fall, swept the 3K, 5K at NCAAs. I'm really excited to see what the next couple years have in store for her, because she is such a strong runner.
On the Bowerman watch list as well, which would really just conclude what's been a fantastic freshman year for Jane Hedegren. She's leading the way right now, and while we have some time, we'll keep your eyes on this 5K on the women's side, but we'll also send it down to Alex, who is with the women's 5K champion.
Today, you didn't get the winning jump until the 5th attempt. What adjustments did you make from the beginning of the competition to get that?
I kind of had to adjust to the wind that was blowing out here a little bit, and just myself like opening up more towards the last few attempts and just getting back so that I can get on the board and get in a good position to jump far.
Finished second at last year's Big 12 Outdoors. Now, obviously, getting the gold and a season's best. How much confidence does it give you going into regionals and nationals?
It definitely gives me a lot of confidence knowing that I can come out here and jump like this and get the win, especially after doing 6 long jumps late last night. It gives me a lot of confidence going into regionals, and I'm just excited to just keep going farther and farther.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to y'all.
Thanks, Alex. I misspoke there. I said the women's 5K champion. We haven't crowned that yet. That was the women's triple jump champion. Tamaya Washington wins it for Texas Tech, and that was big. You talked about it too, John. I think we were off the air when you said it to me privately, but you didn't necessarily have points in the triple jump. That's a big upset there with Wampuch Pigo for Kansas State not taking that top spot. So those were additional points that helped Texas Tech women get to that top spot before this 5K, which, as we've talked about, so important for BYU.
Yes, absolutely. I think the team title, because of what Texas Tech has been able to do earlier in the day, the team title really rests in this women's 5,000. You see Jane's in first position right now, and then a big gap. It looks like the rest of the women for BYU are going to be battling kind of for that 3rd, 4th, 5th place finishes.
Iska Chalengat for Oklahoma State is giving Hedegren some company at the front.
And we've seen this so many times this year from Jane. She loves to get out hard, set the pace. She's never afraid to get after it. no matter if it's a small meet, a big meet. She's got just an incredible competitive drive to her.
Chalen got her personal best is a 15:16. So in comparison to Hedegren, that's about 26 seconds behind what her personal best is.
And we should point out that that is still a top 10 time in the country. So Chalen got absolutely no slouch, but she's got her hands full with the freshman phenom.
What's the mindset? How do you determine whether you're going to just let somebody go to the front of the pack, set the pace, and then you make your own move, or if you're going to maybe steer off the course of what you would normally run, how you would normally run, and keep pace with the leader? How do you determine that in the heat of the moment?
Well, I think if you're Chalen, it all comes down to whether or not you want to cede the Big 12 title to Jane Hedegren after the first lap. Because Jane made a huge move after the opening lap, and you saw the rest of the athletes were content to let her go and just fight kind of for the remaining positions. But Chalen made a gutsy decision to go with Jane. Probably a decision she talked about with her coach ahead of time.
She probably knew, as we knew, you looked at the team scores, that someone, whether it was Hedegren or one of her other teammates, was probably going to make a big push forward, knowing how important this was. So there were probably, to your point, some discussions of, hey, if one of them goes, are you going to stay with them, or are you going to stay back? There was probably that discussion beforehand.
Absolutely. But we see Jane, just as always, looking so strong. She's opened up already a little bit of a gap between her and Chalen. I mean, Jane just is continuing to click off 73-second 400s. We'll see what this split is.
Came across at 6:46.
So a very quick pace. Of course, it's off Jane's record pace, but still a very honest pace, as you can tell from the big gap she's opened up.
The next closest is Ruth Camelli for Baylor. She's in third. But it's Hedegren, and then a gap, and then Chalen, and then a huge gap, and then Camelli and everybody else.
And right now we've got BYU women running not only in first with Hedegren, but also places 6, 7, and 8. So I think we're seeing a little bit of cross-country flavor with some pack running here in the 5K. If you're BYU, you really want, as we see a look there, you don't want to let Baylor and the 2 Iowa State women get too far ahead. You got to stay in contact of them.
Also trying to keep tabs of where the Texas Tech runners are, which, as you see, they're not really factoring into much right now. As you continue to watch them around that bend. There were only a couple of them. Mather and Carter. Mather has the advantage over her teammate Carter at this time. But they're way back in the pack. So still plenty of race to go here, John, but the way it's looking, Hedegren would be 1. Chalen, if she can hold on to it, would be 2. But those other BYU runners, you're thinking at some point might try to make that push and get places 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I'm not sure if settling for 6, 7, and 8 is going to be good enough for BYU, even with Jane taking the win. They need a lot of points in this event to challenge Texas Tech for the team title.
That's why you see Camelli start to forge ahead a little bit more. The junior for Baylor in third place. Cyclone mixed in there as well. And while they continue to run, Alex is down there with Will Muirhead, who is the 5K men's champ after that blistering move on the outside.
Well, 15 All-Americans in the 5K, definitely a gauntlet of a race. What was your mindset and strategy going into today?
I ran the 10K earlier this week. It didn't go the way I wanted. I was really just wanting to come out here and give myself a chance to be a little bit better of a competitor than I was out there on Thursday, going into the regional meet, hoping to kind of get myself a little more confidence. And I found myself trying to pace some of my teammates to a race that would be to their advantage. And I ended up feeling good past the point where I was supposed to go. So I kind of hung in with those boys. And then with 500 to go, it was felt like I could go, so I just went.
Not coming in as one of the favorites, but now getting a facility record and a gold. What does that say about what you have left to show everyone?
Oh, I mean, I'm just super excited. I'm super glad I was able to come out here, just the opportunity to be on the team and just get to race one or two more times with all my friends out there. It's just, I'm super excited for the future of all my friends and teammates that are still out here doing it. And yeah, it's awesome. I'm super excited.
Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Back to y'all.
And what a move it was to get Muirhead that 5K title. Thank you, Alex.
And that's what's so cool about track and field. So often we see the favorites win. A lot of time chalk is the way that these meets go. But every once in a while you get an upset, something you didn't see coming. And that was a really exciting closing lap by Will Muirhead from Oklahoma State.
Well, at this point of the women's 5K, it's starting to blend together who the leaders and who the end of the pack is. But you can see the leader because Hedegren just continues to loop around everybody. These are the trailing runners at this stage, and Hedegren is just going right by him.
Yeah, and Jane's been running about 73, 74 second pace. She's obviously made a huge gap on the rest of the field, as we expect. Basically in any event, longer than a mile for her. 5K, 10K, certainly her bread and butter. And right now, Chalengot's moving back. We see Camelli and the Iowa State women slowly closing the gap between them and Chalengot. And those BYU women are still right in the mix, fighting for a top 3 finish.
Lovell, Hutchins, and Rowatinsky are behind Camelli, Kipkor, and Kibet.
Yeah, we see a look there. BYU's moving up. So they're in positions 5, 6, 7 right now, the BYU women, but the Iowa State women still holding strong. That's Betty Kipkor and Mercy Kibet, 2 freshman Cyclones. But it's still just all Jane, and look how comfortable she looks. Even at a fast pace, she looks more comfortable than the runners she's lapping.
As she is in cruise control.
So she's coming up to 4,200 meters right now. So 800 to go for Jane Hedegren. Still in complete control, making it look easy.
So if you continue to factor in, John, those about 73, 74 second paces, she just crossed at about the 13-minute mark on the dot. So that would put her a little bit over 15 minutes for her final time.
Yeah, she's running really fast right now. As we've seen this just every time she steps to the track. It's not just that she wants to just get the win. She wants to run truly as hard as she possibly can. And we'll have to see where she's at with a lap to go. The Big 12 meet record set last year by Jane's teammate, Lexi Halliday-Lowry.
Facility record is certainly within reach. Allison Wiley of Stanford, 15:53 and 83. Mentioned it, she crossed the line with 2 to go at 13 minutes, averaging about a 73-74 pace over the course of this race. That would put her just over 15 minutes. Crossed at 14:17 there.
So depending how fast she closes, probably in that 15-20 ballpark.
She has some work to do for the Big 12 record.
But all 3 BYU women still battling for second position. Chalengot has dropped all the way back. So it's going to be a really tight race for second. But right now it's still Jane Hedegren with 200 meters to go. 14:51, 14:52 with 200 to go.
No doubt who the winner is going to be, and in all likelihood it's going to be a facility record. If she can close strong here, probably not. Yeah, she's not going to get that Big 12 record, but she will certainly get a facility record here tonight. And she'll break a mark that was set in 1983 by Allison Wiley. Hedegren blows away the field, and she'll be the 5K women's champion in the Big 12 in 2026.
And the crowd here at Drockman Stadium rising, giving her a round of applause, appreciating just a great effort by one of the best we've ever seen at the Big 12.
But to your point, now the anticipation builds of that battle for second as they come down the final stretch. It is a sprint to the finish.
We see Iowa State in second, Jenna Hutchins in third.
And then another Cyclone coming in fourth, and then Chalengat in fifth, followed by those next two Cougars. So Kipkor takes second place. So Iowa State here, John, playing a little bit of spoiler for BYU. They're still going to get a bunch of points across the board.
And I think that's Carmen Alder coming to the line as well.
Kipkor and Kibet take second and fourth. Hutchins in third, and then Chalengat in fifth, with Lovell in sixth, Rowatinsky in seventh.
And that was Carmen Alder. Yep.
So BYU takes 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. Maëlle Porcher for Iowa State gets ninth, so Iowa State in the women's 5K gets 3 of the top 9. And then Ruth Camelli, who was in third place for a long time, she finishes in 10th. It's a new personal best for Kibet with her 15:54.75 in that fourth place finish. Your medalists, though, will be Hedegren with the gold, Kipkor the silver, Hutchins the bronze, and a dominant showing. Facility record by, when you add it up, roughly 27 seconds.
And your 2026 Big 12 champion of the women's 5,000 with the new facility record at 15:26.94 from BYU, Jane Hedegren.